So this is the story about last night and me last night, and where I went, what I did, what I decided to experiment with, and to see what happens. Basically, I went to a spiritualist church. Um, bit of you know, bit of concern because I didn't really know what the people would be about and where they're coming from and so on and so forth. And that's a bigger anxiety for me than anything to do with spiritual subjects whatsoever. It's the people, their intention, their mentality, that sort of thing, who they're connected to, and whether the vibration and the ideas are right for me, that sort of thing. Anyway, the building itself was just, your standard community centre type building, not much, but it was made nice. Seating was nice, and I sat next to this lady who was quite pleasant to talk to, and everyone seems okay, more or less. The demographic was definitely much more different to what I'm used to with the main place of worship I go to. So that was an interesting, culturally different experience. But then the actual service started, and there was a couple of hymns, a little reading from something which was rather innocuous. So that didn't seem to be too offensive, and they didn't seem to be trying to scare me into thinking what they thought. Then they had their medium come up, because that's what they do in spiritualist churches. It's more to do with the mediumship demonstration than it is to do with anything else. Now, I've been to spiritualist churches before, and I've seen them doing shotgunning. You know what shotgunning is? When they're standing up in a room full of people. Is there someone here who's known someone called John? Is there someone here who's once had a black and white cat? Oh, for 5 people. Okay, out of those 5 people, is there someone there who knows John and has a black and white cat? Oh, great. Well, it must be yourself then. Because these things are going to be true for someone, and so therefore they do the cold reading method. The fake method. But this lady was different in the fact that she would not shotgun. She would actually just do it like that, and would point. I want to talk to that lady over there in the black and white wearing the hat. I want to talk to that gentleman there wearing the green jacket and that one there. So she would point people out and would then read upon them. That in its own right is very impressive. I didn't think it would happen in a room full of 44 people, because they don't often know how to pack in their congregations on the first service of the new year in a spiritualist church, in that spiritualist church. 44 people in a church. And it wasn't even a special occasion or a marriage or a christening or anything like that. Okay, 44 people, that's quite big. Plus the extra half a dozen people who are, serving and doing the organising and everything else. It's quite a big organisation, quite a big operation in this tiny little building. And she picked me out. The medium picked me out. She said a few things about my character, which might be, applicable to everyone. But then she said that someone's passed. And then she said their family name. And that was the family name of the person whose funeral I'd been to just a couple of years ago and who I still miss. This lady had never seen me before in her entire life. No one in that church knew I was going there, or was going to. And yet the family name was accurate. The things about my character were also, to the most part, pretty accurate. And I was actually relatively impressed, because I've come across some people who are mediums, and they're not. And I've come across one or two who've really latched onto some very serious positive things, which show me that they're moving in the right direction. I had one reading with a medium many, many, many years ago, who spoke directly about my ancestry and on my mother's side, and also my ancestry. He didn't speak about my ancestry as much on my father's side, but definitely on my mother's side, and all of that was true, because my parents had been researching the family history. All I'm going to do is leave that story there with you. You make of it what you see fit. I want to look into using more of this stuff for healing, because that was my original intention. When I've been going into even reading books by AC and effortlessly constant, and the rest of that, I was looking for secrets to health. I found my secrets to health more through Rife Therapy, through Spooky 2, which has actually done an awful lot of good for me. Alright, still more to be done because I am what I am, but it's done a heck of a lot. So now it's a question of going back into the understanding of spiritual healing, going into the understanding of not just like looking into all the various different methods which is out there, but to specifically, for my purposes and the purposes of other people, looking into spiritual healing in a greater detail and depth. So, and also other healing techniques as well. So I can bring about change for myself and also try and enhance understanding for all the rest of you people. As I've been saying for years, I believe that the importance of all of this weird stuff is to improve human understanding, human communication, and human well-being. It should not be so that you can pretend that you're hard to some geezer in a pub. It should not be to terrify people that you've got some kind of magical powers and therefore they should do everything that you say, because that's cult leader techniques, and there was a lot of that in the old days, I'm telling you. This should be about goodness. This should be about learning. This should be about experimentation. This should be about finding things out about the way the world works and how to use this to enhance human experience. And I want you to ask yourselves very carefully whether the work that you're doing and the studying that you're doing and the learning that you're doing is actually helping you in that respect. And also to try and adjust it so it does. And I will speak to you again when the muse comes upon me.